Greetings, Community Action. Thank you for your interest in learning more about the Collaborative on Economic Mobility. I'm Lily Seals, the Director of Practice Transformation and the Project Director for the Collaborative on Economic Mobility. Joining me today is my colleague, Karis Manus, who is the Senior Associate for Learning and Dissemination and also the Project Lead. We start our time with the promise of community action. Community action changes people's lives, embodies the spirit of hope, improves communities, and makes America a better place to live. We care about the entire community, and we are dedicated to helping people help themselves and each other. We have several objectives that we will cover today. First, we're going to provide an overview of the Collaborative on Economic Mobility's purpose, approach, and our timeline. We're going to identify key focus areas for future training and technical assistance opportunities. And we're going to introduce an opportunity to provide feedback through our training and technical assistance needs survey, because this is of, for, and by the network. Project overview. So the purpose of the Collaborative on Economic Mobility, it is intended to highlight emerging and promising practices in economic mobility for low-income communities and to expand the capacity of the Community Action Network to deliver services that promote economic mobility. This project is brought to you, and we of course want to thank our funder, the Office of Community Services. So we are very excited to have this project and work in collaboration. This project really does focus on a few key focus areas. When we think about and we talk about economic mobility, we're thinking about it in terms of these focus areas: high quality education, workforce development, community asset building, two-generation and whole family approaches, innovative community programs and organizations, and equity. And a little later, you're going to hear from my colleague Karis, who will take you through each of, who'll talk about those focus areas more in depth. The approach and timeline for this project, it's broken up into two phases. So we have our research methodology and planning, which is phase one. I know for our local community action agencies, we're very used to completing our community assessment where we're assessing the needs. We're thinking about the resources that exist. What are those gaps? And how are we then thinking about the provision of services? With our approach for this project, we're doing a similar thing where we are gathering information on a variety of topics. Certainly, we want information on inequities. We want to know about those promising and emerging practice models. We also want to hear from the network. What are the needs? What are the challenges? What are the opportunities as it relates to these focus areas? And then we go into phase two. So we're going to, you'll see the different pieces where, of course, we're going to have our report. We're going to have an evaluation plan. We're going to have outlines of what our training and technical assistance tools will be, and how we're going to disseminate that information. And phase two really does focus on those defining what those training and technical assistance tools are and the deployment of them. So what does that look like when we have developed those training and technical assistance tools and they are now in the hands of our CSBG eligible entities and, of course, our network? This project is in collaboration because, again, this is for, by, and with the network. So we have a steering committee, and our steering committee is comprised of our national partners It is also comprised of local, state, regional community action leaders. We have subject matter experts in those focus areas, again, that you'll hear more about a little bit later. And we're very excited that we have Shriver Fellows who are also a part of the steering committee. And some of you may say, Shriver Fellows, who and what are Shriver Fellows? Shriver Fellows are customers with lived experience. So we're talking about we have four entities, right, coming together, and they're all coming to the table as experts. And this is to intentionally, of course, to include and amplify the voice of all of our community members from, as I say, from beginning to end, right? From they're co-creating and co-designing all of the solutions. Now I will hand off to my colleague Karis, who will review the key focus areas.
Thank you, Lily. Yes, as we dive deeper into these focus areas, looking at workforce development, we know that with workforce development, we know that obtaining full-time employment and skilled labor increases economic stability and fosters upward mobility. So within workforce development, that will include things like career and technical education programs, vocational or sector-specific training programs, entrepreneurship-focused education and skills training programs, youth workforce development programs in high-need sectors, working in partnership with local American job centers, work-based learning models, as well as employment and career pathways. And then we'll look at high-quality education. And so we know that the completion of a post-secondary degree increases upward economic mobility for households with low incomes. And it includes high-quality early childhood education, K-12 learning, and access to enrichment activities that can all increase the likelihood of achieving post-secondary degrees and working towards workforce development. So this includes access to early childhood education. So it includes Head Start and Early Head Start, as well as after-school enrichment programs, support in visiting and applying for college, adult education and general education development programs, scholarships, funding opportunities for K-12 schools, teacher retainment and recruitment, and summer enrichment activities. When we look at community asset building, this is referring to the neighborhood socioeconomic and racial segregation that leads to lower economic mobility, especially in areas of concentrated poverty. So when we talk about community asset building, those activities will include volunteer and civic action opportunities, community-specific associations, community-specific events, community revitalization efforts, mentoring programs, and anti-racism efforts. And next we have the 2-gen and whole family approaches. And with this focus area, we know that a stable family structure increases the opportunity for upward mobility, and 2-generation and whole family approaches support family stability by providing meaningful support for the entire family. So within the 2-generation and whole family approach focus area, it includes home visiting programs, parenting programs, fatherhood initiatives, case management or coaching services, housing stability programs, access to basic necessities such as food, shelter, and clothing, support in accessing anti-poverty programs, community wellness and health clinics, and mental health programming. And I will hand it back over to Lily to talk about the other 2 focus areas.
Thank you, Karis. So our final 2 focus areas that we're going to talk about are innovative programs and organizations. We know that poverty is complex. As we think about what we do and have done for 60 years in community action, we know that all of our communities look different. We know that sometimes industries go away. We know that sometimes industries join our communities. So as we think about what are those pieces or those things that are occurring within communities where we've had to be innovative, where we've thought about how we're connecting deeply into families and they are able to achieve economic mobility. We want to hear more about what community action agencies are doing in this innovation space. Equity. Um, we know that equity really means, and if we really go back to the promise of community action, we want to ensure everyone that we care about all people and that everyone has what they need, right? To thrive. That's really what we mean. So as we think about equity, we think about equity as it relates to each of the focus areas. We also think about equity maybe in a broad sense. For example, we know that if someone is not healthy, that is a barrier, or if their family is not healthy, that is a barrier to someone achieving high quality education or for them to be a part of workforce development. So, how are we thinking about access to high quality healthcare? How are we thinking about those things? So, we really look at equity certainly infused into each of those focus areas, but also what are those pieces that also help to support those focus areas. And now for the exciting part, we really want to we want to hear from you. So we would love to hear from the network. So whether you're a local community action agency, whether you're a state association, an RPIC, a state office, we would love to hear from you. What are you seeing in your communities? What are you seeing in your states? What are you seeing in your regions? We would love to have feedback. So we certainly encourage you to scan the QR code. If you are watching this, you will have access to the link that will take you directly there, certainly as well. But we're asking you to complete the survey. You'll have an opportunity to rank as you look, as Karis walked you through the various focus areas where we had kind of those sub bullets. What is most important in your particular community? What is an area where you would really love to see some training and technical assistance resources? That is what we're looking for to hear from the network, as we continue on. So please, we're asking for your feedback. It is not a very long survey, but it really does get to the heart of the matter. So we encourage you to fill it out, certainly as an individual. You may decide that you want to get with your team and say, hey, let's review this and let's submit that and let's submit it. You have just various opportunities to really engage with this survey. And there's no wrong door, as we say. Every way is the right way. So however you choose to complete the survey, we certainly hope that you lift it up within your organization or your agency and think about your community, think about the families that you serve, and what are the needs that you have to help families achieve economic mobility. We are asking uh, for the survey to be completed so we can have all of the responses by March 31st. You have access to the survey. We know that um, it is a survey, it is in depth, and you may have some questions. And you may have some questions about the project with this presentation. So we would like to have a live Q&A as we introduce the collaborative on economic mobility. So on Monday, March 25th of this year at 2 p.m. Eastern, we would love for you to register to join us. We will have an overview of the project And we will have an opportunity for any questions that you may have relating to the survey, or any questions that you may have relating to the project. You may also have feedback. All feedback is welcomed and appreciated. And we also will have virtual regional listening sessions. So we know that the survey is it's a tool, but there may be some additional context, and we'd like to go a little bit deeper as it relates to the information. So our goal, or our goal to do that, our way to do that, is to host regional listening sessions so that we can present what we have received, the findings that we've received, because we certainly are asking for information from the network. So we also want to provide those responses back to the network, right? So we will host virtual regional listening sessions, so that you may see the results, and have an opportunity to weigh in and to provide additional context for some of the responses. Okay. The introduction of the Collaborative on Economic Mobility. Again, I am Lily Seals, my colleague Karis Manus. We are here. Our contact information is on the screen. So if you need anything, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please reach out to both of us. Let us know. We are certainly here for the network. And we absolutely look forward to seeing you on March 25th. Thank you.